What is good, rookies? Welcome to our final trades for round 14. We're going to look at some VC options. We're going to quickly go through teams and we're going to look at some interesting debuts, interesting named players that could potentially help, and some outs that are really damaging. So, I don't really want to talk about round 14. It's a write off. I'm just focusing on next week. That's where we're at, basically. But we're just going to quickly go through it. Brisbane and Lions. Obviously, the main talks of the show are Zorko against some halfbacks. St Kilda going to be real damaging. So hopefully we see a good game. Him being named at fullback, I'm not sure if it's a bit of concern, but we'll see how we go in our trade plans. So we're going to hope the best for that. Some damaging outs is Naz. So Naz has got some family stuff he needs to attend to. The reality is, guys, this is all fantasy. This isn't real. What Naz is going through with his family stuff is real. So we only wish him the best and wish that everything is all good. But unfortunately, leaves us with 17 playing, which means we have to bring in big guns to try and fill the spot, which we never could. It's not going to happen, but we can try. So, with that said, Ari, first game in, debut, could be one to watch after his bye if we need some downgrade options moving forward. But unsure, I think it's like a 117 rookie, which we'll have a look at shortly. But yeah, Winhager is going to be a curious one for us because we're probably seeing these going to go to Neil. It would be very interesting to see Winhager go to Zork. I don't think that's going to happen, but there are chances he goes to Neil, potentially even goes to Dunkley, depending on how the form is. But we'll see what happens. But I think everyone's betting on Winhager going to Neil. So again, I'd be less inclined to bring in Neil this week with that in mind. Tags are being really disruptive this season and they're causing a lot of concern. We saw what he did to Took last week. Absolutely crazy. Anyone else we got Marshall in, Steele. Just, yeah. Everything else is pretty standard here. Bulldogs and Fremantle. Wagner is gone. No one really else to talk about. Darcy's in. We're hoping Jackson can still pull a good game together because we need him to potentially trade out if he's shit in the bed, but we'll see what happens. In regards to Bulldogs, we've got Richards back in, who could potentially be an option as a pod pick after his bye. I am really looking to cover round 15 and make round 14 the last struggle, so we'll see what happens. McNeil, if you brought in him as a rookie, he's been omitted, so that's unfortunate. And one which is frustrating everyone because this was a really good cover was Garcia, who's been playing really, really well. So this is really interesting. I have a feeling that this is due to Waitman potentially coming back. Unsure, but they're just Bevo doing Bevo things at this point, which is annoying. But we can see Buku Kamas is now named on field, which is good. I think it was the sub last week or the week before, so to see him named on field is probably good. I don't think anyone really would hold him. Joel is there on the interchange. Sanders is still on the interchange. I'd be interesting to know who's named sub, but we'll find out. Outside of that, there's really no one else to talk about Freo. Other than we're going to be bringing in the big boy Ryan. This is a quick heads up. Richmond vs Hawthorn. Meek is back. Reeves is out. We've got Lynch and Dustin Martin. We've got Dusty back in for the 300th. So this is going to be a really big milestone game. Hopefully a really good game quality-wise. Like I'm going to try and watch this, and I just hope it's a really good game to watch. The only real player we have is Moore. I am actually considering bringing in Will Day. I think Will Day is going to be a bit of a pod pick after his bye, so we're going to be looking at him. We were looking at like Baker and Bolton, but I'm just not sure. I mean, Baker being named in centre is always good, but yeah, we'll see how we go. Other than that, no one really relevant for us. If you've got McAuliffe, who was sub last week, hopefully he's not sub again because he had a lot of potential to do really well. With Lynch now coming back into the side, it'd be curious to see what's shifting around here too. So we'll see how that goes. Adelaide and Sydney. So we've got Burgess omitted, which is really interesting. Smith omitted. So they've got Strawn and they've got... So this is really good. This is really good to see after his injury. Hopefully he stays well. He's versing Grundy, so Grundy could be a shout for like a C potentially because they are playing on... Where are they playing? Yeah. It's I think it's a Saturday game. Yeah, Saturday game. So Could be a shout for a C with Sydney for Grundy. He's been playing really well. He's not at the SCG though, so be wary. And the man himself, Rankin, is back in the picture. We might be targeting him after his bye potentially, but we'll have a look at our forward line and what our plans are moving forward with the chaos that is this round very shortly. We are hoping Heaney has a really good game against Adelaide, but we'll see what happens. North Melbourne, this is honestly not that bad. We got a new debut as well for both. Oh, sorry, not North. Teakle's back in. We got Geist, I think that's how you pronounce his name. So we got some debuts. Now, our main one is because we've got some new players, I'm really hoping Bytel isn't named sub. I'm really hoping not. We'll see what happens though. Hardiman's back in, Phillips back in, Lazario back in. Obviously, our failed rookie pick in Dawson is out because he's injured, like the pleb. Really interesting for those that are eyeing off Simpkin for a potential like extra 23rd, kind of like a Fife. His position named is really interesting. I will want to be watching Simpkin. I've considered bringing in Simpkin or Fife this week, but ultimately, I think with next week's upgrades, I just can't do it, nor do I want to. I'd rather get a rookie in, sit him on the bench, and then have cash for a full primo next week. And that's just how we're going. Other than that, nothing else to really talk about. Dusty Kevin's been playing well. Crisp named in the fold, which is really good. Same with Dacos. So if you picked up Crisp before he's, like first game after good form, I think you're laughing. He's been playing really, really well. Just one of those things in hindsight. I think you kind of realize, a bit of a miss. Giants and Port, really interesting. We've got Kelly and Buckley back, so it'd be interesting to see because we've got Buckley on the interchange and we've got Leak starting on field, which is really good. Interesting to see what happens with Leaker now. Now that Buckley's back in. Got a debut as well, who I would say, given that he's at end of the interchange, would probably be the sub, which can work for us because we are potentially bringing in McMullen this week just to help this week and next week for covers. Port, some really big ins. Really one big in, and that's Rosie's back in. So Rosie's going to be a really good value pick at around 400, 450 after this week. Definitely one to look at for us as a potential cover. Soldo's back in. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We need Tom Green to really turn it around because he has been playing absolute trash. Let's be honest. We need him to turn it around. I think that's all we've got from Greater West Sydney. So we'll see what happens. And that's it. So a few games, nothing too crazy happening. We've got 17 playing. Let's have a look at our trades and what we're doing. So at this stage, we are taking Stewart out, we're taking Naz out, and we're taking Miller out. Do I want to do this? Not really. My hand's been forced because Naz is out. The original trades were looking at Stewart, Miller, and Sexton. However, the only way I can get the trades that I want is by trading out a mid to bring in someone else to switch, with some DPP, which is frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But we need to bring in Ryan. He's like, no excuses. He's coming in. Zork, there's a lot of people like umming and ahhing on the fence about to bring him in with his really high break even. But I'm in the consensus of a few that I've seen in the community where at this stage, like break evens are becoming irrelevant and you just need these, like if you need the top 6, you need the top 4 at least in each field. We need Ryan. We've got Dacos, got Houston. We need to bring Sheasel back in or even a Ridley. We've got Flanders, we've got Heenan, we've got Zork, we've got Jackson, we've got Fisher. So we need to get Fisher back down here. And then we've got more. So then as soon as our trades next week will bring Fisher back down, which then means our forward line's done. Because I'm happy to keep Jackson there as long as you keep going. And that can be a luxury trade out if needed. Our rucks are done. Although I hate having English. Even though he gave us a really good debut, we may have just shot the gun a bit early there. And why did we trade out Grundy in the first place? Fucking Jordan Sweet. Anyway, frustrations. Then the only thing really lacking is getting that last spot filled. We did have that filled, but we've had to do some trade outs. So we're going to fill that last spot, potentially with a Goulden, potentially with an LDU. I'm highly leaning towards North for final positions just because of their run home. LDU showing great form. Sheasel has somehow maintained great form, and that was a regretful trade out. But anyway, I think this is what we're going to stick with. Our downgrade options we're going to save for like Dowling or Kruger the week after. As good as the cover could be for this week and potential scores, they get a bye next week, and it's not going to work well for us. We need warm bodies. McMullen has been consistent. Even though he has been the sub, he's still dropping at least 50. So he's been doing quite well. And we're just kind of hoping again that he's not sub, because he loves the vest. But this is what we're looking like. So for round 15, we're looking at 1 out, 2 out. We're going to cover Bytel with Clark. So we have 2 here, so that's 3, 4, 5. Now, what I am thinking, if I have done the math correctly, is we can go with this cash in the bank from this trades. We can go Sexton up to a SEAGULL or a Ridley, depending on price point and what we can make happen. That will be happening there to help lock in that final spot. And then we can go Garcia and Fraser into someone else and a 102k rookie. Because we're going to fill this spot. So we're going to bring in that last mid here with whatever. So we're going to try and grab a value pick. So basically we should have our lines somewhat finished. Potentially. We either keep a rookie on field here or we swing Martin. There's a few options we can do. But basically next week we're bringing Fisher back down here, which means that's done, which then means we have 2 spots. So then we have, like a SEAGULL or a Ridley step in. And then we grab someone else with Fraser and Garcia's money, even potentially Clark, even though he's playing. Ideally we leave Clark because he's got a quite low break even. He's got a -1 break even, so I still think he's going to make some more cash and then potentially flip him later on. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, at this stage, this is what we're working with for next week, for this week. Shambles, absolute shambles. And we've got cover, so we're missing 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not great. Not great at all. We're just managing. I think if we put everything on field and whatnot, we'd be just clocking over 1800. But we're just hoping we survive enough, not drop out of the top 20k, and then just slowly try and inch closer to the top 10k, which has been the goal all season. But for general trade targets as well, let's have a look at our. We're just going to quickly go to the 1%. Oh, hello, Supercoach. Thank you. And just look at the ownership change, which I think is the most accurate representation for, what we can do. So trade-ins, Dowling's a great choice if you can cover him. Same with Kruger. Gordon's still at a good price if you like the role. Obviously, this is tricky because if you get Gordon in, you're kind of looking like a point chaser. But at the end of the day, like we know what he can do. We know what he's capable of. And he might just have a really strong run home, which will be really good. He's only meant to go up 30k, so he's going to be sitting just under 600 if he hits his projected of 111. Clark again, low break even, 580. He'll definitely be jumping up to over 600k. Grundy, good price point. Dork will be dropping money. Fisher is 72, so he's probably going to make more money. Simkin is definitely making money, but again, I would kind of wait if you can. And yeah, a lot of people bringing in some rooks. So we've got Sinclair. Sinclair's looking pretty good if he maintains that halfback role. He had no CBAs last week, and he scored like 147 or something like that, or something ridiculous. So if you can cover that buy, it's a great pickup. I think Rankin, again, if you can cover all the round 15 buys and bring a round 15 player, I think that's a solid choice. But we can't do that. So we're pretty much trying to target people that have already had their buy, which leaves us like we could have saved some more money bringing Whitfield, but I ideally would like to get a SEAGULL in. Just how we're looking. But in regards, that's like trade-ins, trade-outs. Moyle, great trade-out. Closey, Garcia, Sullivan, Tuke, Darcy, Clayton, Riley Garcia now, Stewart. These are all solid trade-outs. Not sure about the Tim. I mean, that's more of a luxury trade. I think if you brought in Tim English, you kind of just hold him. But obviously, if they're at that stage where they can make that luxury trade out, by all means. Naz, it makes sense. Pachaka makes sense because he's injured enough for the rest of the season. All solid trade outs. Even Martin, I think we're going to hold on to him. I think we're going to back him in a little bit. I think he's got the potential to consistently score over a ton or just reach a ton. I think the potential's still there. He just needs to be a bit cleaner with the ball, honestly. But nothing wrong with these trade outs at all. So we're holding on to Garcia and Frazier until next week and then look at trading them out. Potentially change out a Steele if we can, but probably not ideal. We can wear the blue dot next week to keep Steele. I think that's ideal. I think we just make that bed and sleep in it. That's where we're currently at. VC options and C options. The two major trade-ins, we're just going straight to VC and C. We're going to VC Zorko against Saints tonight, and we're going to see Ryan against Bulldogs. Hopefully, all things go well, we can just VC Zorko, and he pops off for at least 130, and we can just take a nice, safe VC score. And then we don't have to worry about that for the rest of the weekend. So down to 7 trades, not ideal. Again, this is our first year, and we're learning all these lessons now. So it is what it is, but that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for the support. Leave a like. Let me know what your trade-ins. Let me know how many players you've got playing in this round, if you're struggling, or if next week's going to be your real struggle round. I think you pretty much had to pick round 1 or 2, round 14 or 15 to struggle with. And yeah, we're just struggling with all of them at this point. So with that said, I'll see you guys on Sunday night /Monday for our round review, which is probably going to be absolute shambles.